Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome. Today, I am getting everything set up for today, and I'm super excited to get started. So, our topic for today is all about detoxing the body. So, it's going to be really about how we can fuel our bodies so that we can. Perform at a high level, like consistently, right? And we want it to be sustainable. That's the key, because if it's not sustainable, then we know that it's not going to stick. And that's actually the danger, right? So we're going to talk about all of that today. I'm super excited to get started. So, again, welcome back. I'm glad that you're here for our day two of this Swap the Waste to Fuel the Change challenge. So yesterday we laid the foundation with mindset, and we named the waste. I helped you to be able to get to a point where you can pinpoint, call it out for what it is, and then how to reframe that so that it can serve us, right? We want it to be truth. We want it to speak life into our lives. And how do we do that? How do we actually do that? So we talked about that. We talked about how to be able to how to stack your habits or anchor it into something that you've already been doing, so that it's not like you're doing this whole overhaul. We talked about the word rhythm and what it means to create a rhythm so that it is sustainable, and that's what we're going for. How do we make this long term, a transformation, not something where it becomes this yo-yo type of thing, right? And today we're going to be moving into the body detox. What does that look like? If we are going to perform at a high level, you guys, right, ladies, we've got to be able to fuel our bodies properly. And what does that look like? Like literally, what would that look like? So for those of you that are just jumping in for the first time and you don't know me, just a little bit about myself. My name is Evelyn Tribble. I am a Latina mom. Okay. I was born in Peru. Actually, I was born in Venezuela. My parents are Peruvian, so I have Peruvian blood. And then I was raised in the States. I am a life and leadership coach. I like to say that I'm also a systems and automation strategist and a wellness mentor and the creator of Aligned and Anchored. And that is where I have been able to combine this faith, mindset, practical strategy just to be able to help you to just align your home, align your body, align your mind, your business, right? Just your life in general, so that you can walk in that clarity and walk in confidence and walk in just peace and calm. And that's ultimately what we're chasing, is that joy. And so yesterday we talked about how you have access to that through our hope in Jesus Christ, right? And we have access to that joy. And so that leaves us with the rest of this, framework here, the body and the home. Okay, so how does all this line up? So just a little bit about my story and how I am fit to share this with you. Okay, and that's just through mere experience, y'all. We all have our story. It's really cool, and we're going to talk about that on day 5. But it's mainly about how we take that mess in our life. The Lord takes that mess in our lives, and then He somehow turns it into our message. And so, a little bit about that. It all started for me April 2024. I started going to the gym because I had this pain in my right shoulder. I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, hey, we could either do some injections, or you could just go and get some physical therapy, get it back to just give you some few exercises where it could at least get you to the point where you're not feeling all that pain. And then you need to get yourself to the gym, right? And start weightlifting. And I was like, ooh, so that's kind of where it started for me, where I was like, oh gosh, if that's all I need, well, goodness. So I started learning and making the connection about women and our hormones and perimenopause, and how, our lean muscle actually decreases from the time we hit 30. or lean muscle, the percentage of what our body is producing is actually going to drop 40, drop some more, 50, drop some more. That kind of leaves us to, okay, what do we do? Well, we weight lift. It's important to lift, so that we can create more lean muscle as our body is aging and naturally wants to produce less and less and less, right? Okay, so I started making the connection with all that. So that was in April of 2024. October of 2024, my goodness, my shoulder had improved. I felt, much better. Like maybe I was getting to the point where I could actually throw football with the boys anymore. I could still feel it. It was still there, but it wasn't like that, debilitating, That's kind of how I thought about it. So it had improved. Now I'm not trying to get vain here, but there were some other things that I was beginning to notice now that that pain was not like taking all of my attention. I was like, oh gosh, I somehow have this little pooch in my mid area that I hadn't even noticed. Okay, so that kind of got me thinking about like, wow, I really would like to work on this area and just feel better in my body, in my own body. And so in my search, in my journey, I found these amazing bioactive peptides, which we are going to talk about today, and really get into the science behind it, because I've had lots of questions about that. And so I really wanted to focus in on that today. And I started learning about how they're derived from nature and how they're decoded by AI and how they were designed to optimize how our bodies, perform. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool. So totally took that on, and woo, it worked. It did what it said it was supposed to do. So we're going to talk about that. I did end up feeling a lot lighter, just more energized, but down deep inside, you guys, here's the key. I still felt like something was missing. I was working on my body, right? I was working on this pain and increasing lean muscle and getting stronger, becoming stronger for my children and my boys and my family so we could play together again, right? I was working, I was hitting the gym, and I had started taking these bioactive peptides that were, I was beginning to feel like the inflammation had come down. Like I was doing that, but something was still missing. And in that moment, God reminded me that my worth did not come from how I looked or how I felt. Again, He was bringing me to alignment and said to me, oh my goodness, your identity, who you are, who you're becoming, it comes from Christ alone. And so that is where the Lord began to speak to me. And how do we do this? How do we steward our body well, right? Can you relate with me? Like, are you in this journey of like, yes, I want to work on my body, but like, how do we actually do this and align it? And so He began working in me like, okay, how do we steward this? How do we align all these areas? Because at that point I had all these hats. I had my home hat, like I had to take care of my home. I had my body hat, like I have to take care of my body. I have my mind hat where it's like, okay, I need to, feed my mind with truth. And it was like all these hats. And then I had this business hat and my family hat, and wow, like, my boys and all the things their schedules had, right? And I was like, whew, feeling overwhelmed. And so that's where the Lord began working in me on like alignment. He kept whispering that. Okay, forward to April 2025. So this is a whole year later. I decided that I wanted to just like up this, like, okay, I'm really going to up from just working out once a week to working out 5 days a week. Okay, I just want to jumpstart and I did this for 30 days, 30-minute workouts, 5 days a week. And then I also started journaling what I was eating and how I was actually fueling my body, and how much water I was drinking, how much sleep was I actually getting. And it served me so well, because then I was able to get to the point where I could identify, here's the things that will fuel my body. Like, here's how I feel the day after having, eaten this throughout the week. And I started understanding the difference, the connection between your gut and your energy. And it was so cool. So I became very passionate about just sharing this with other women, right? On how to fuel their bodies, not just for your health, but also to be able to fulfill the calling, your purpose, like whatever God has called you, right? You have a purpose here on earth. And so, like, what does that look like? How do you feel your body so that you can perform at a high level? So before we dive into today's teaching, though, I just want to do a quick shout out, you guys, on everybody that's on the leaderboard right now. So let me just share with you right now. Amber Till is she is leading this at 130 points. Right behind her is Alicia McFalls. She's at 120. So is Laura Lee and Rihanna. Okay. And then you can see everybody else is still here. We have 147 registered, you guys. So I wasn't obviously able to put everybody's name on here. But just as a reminder, how to get points. When you registered, you automatically got 20 points. You get an extra 20 points when you RSVP on any of the events that are out there on Facebook. So if you go into my profile, or if you're in the Facebook group and you go into the events tab, they're all listed there. So for those of you that have already RSVP'd, you've gotten 20 extra points for those. And that's how quickly you can start, loading up on the points. Just another reminder, if you print out your workbook, you can also get 10 points for that. If you do the daily homework every single day, that's 50 points total. So go and do the work, because that is the hard work that if we actually do, that is what is going to bring transformation. I promise you, you will feel it even after day one. 30 points every day after you don't just complete it, but you also then go ahead and share it in the group as completed. So that would give you 150 points total for the whole week. Okay. And then when you post your testimonial, it gives you another 30 points. When you attend the live or watching the replay and you are engaging, okay, so comment live if you're watching live now, or comment replay if you're catching the replay, #replay. That way I know that you're actually engaging, and you can get 50 extra points for that. And then when you tag me on your stories, like, you screenshot me, or you take a picture, with you on your laptop or with your notebook, however you want to do it, you also get 30 points, okay, for that. All right. So I wanted to share that with you before we get started. What we're going to talk about today is I'm going to give you 3 steps to how to reset your body, okay, so that you can fuel it the right way. Our goal is to be able to teach you how to fuel it the right way. And know, like, okay, what works, what doesn't work, right? Like, that's going to be huge and important. And then I'm also going to describe how the peptides work. So we're not going to get into that right now, but I do want to go ahead and let you know that that's going to be part of our topic today. Okay. All right. Now, here's the problem. Many high performing women are living in stress, they're eating a bunch of sugar, and they're constantly feeling like they're just in survival mode, right? Because we're running empty, we're feeling fatigued, we're feeling bloated, we have this brain fog going on, and then we're just consistently inconsistent. All right. So comment survival if you feel like you have been, functioning the last month of your life in survival mode, or maybe this last season, the whole fall season, like you feel like you've just been on survival mode. Okay. Like, you can identify with this. You've been running empty, battling fatigued. You feel bloated constantly. You feel like you can't remember one thing from the other, like just brain fog, right? And you've been consistently inconsistent with your health, okay, with your health journey. All right. Well, I have some good news for you. Yesterday, we talked about mindset and how our mind actually can help us through this journey of where we're feeling like, man, I consider myself a high performer. Okay. But yeah, I'm recognizing that I've been consistently like feeling stress all the time. And I do eat sugar. I do go crave sugar, and I, drink a lot. I've been dependent on coffee, right, to be able to get through the day. I am running empty. I am battling fatigued and feeling bloated and brain fog. I haven't been, consistent in my health journey whatsoever. Like, what we learned yesterday is going to help you today to move forward so that you can take the steps to getting the results that you want with your body, with your health journey. And so that's called reframing. So we're going to reframe that. So if you feel like that, if you resonate with the survival mode, I'm going to help you reframe it today, okay? Because the good news is that your energy is not gone. It might be trapped, okay? It's trapped. Your energy is trapped, okay? But we're going to reframe that to say, like, you know what? My energy is not gone. Because when I reset my gut and I begin to fuel my body with purpose, I can unlock sustainable energy and clarity. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So what is the connection between your gut and your energy? Okay. Put gut in the comments if you're just like, what is the connection between my gut and my energy? Here's the connection. Our gut is the command center of our body. It dictates our mood, how our immune system is working to be able to fight off colds and all of that, right? It also dictates the amount of energy that we have. So when it is inflamed or when it is overfloated, everything just feels harder. So there's a connection between your gut and your energy, because the gut is our command center. Okay. All right. Also, stress doesn't help. Sugar doesn't help. And feeling like you're on survival mode doesn't help, right? Constant stress and just going for the quick foods because those are your cravings. All that does is keep you in a burnout cycle. So we don't want that, right? Honestly, we're not designed. God didn't design us to live on fumes. He actually designed our body in a very capable way of being able to process, the stress and the toxins, right? He gave us a liver for that, our gut. Okay. So those are very important. And I just want you to see this as an invitation where he's calling you to steward your body well by fueling it properly, okay? Because scripture does call us to honor our bodies as the temple, right? That includes proper nutrition, that includes hydration, that includes proper amount of rest and sleep. Not just luxury, not just vacations and luxuries, right? Like, this is part of our spiritual growth journey, is also to take care of our bodies, to live well so that we can serve well. That is part of our calling, biblical calling. Okay. So I want to give you 3 steps to help you reset your body so that you can fuel it properly, so you can feel better, right? Okay, number 1, and I want you to write down this in the notes section of your Detox and Thrive journal. This is where you're going to do your homework, and those are 3 this is the hard work, right? Answering those is going to be the hard work, but you're going to feel so much lighter after you do this. So in the notes, I want you to put 3 steps to reset your fuel. So how can you reset your fuel, right? Kind of like a gas who needs that gas tank needs to be fueled consistently. Otherwise, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to take you anywhere. Okay. So 3 steps to reset your fuel. Number one is identify what's draining you. What is draining you? Are you skipping a meal? Are you finding yourself, like, if you think about it, oh gosh, I am skipping meals. Maybe you're a nurse. Maybe you're you're in the health industry, right? Health provider. It's very hard. But maybe it's skipping meals. Maybe it's late night snacking, right? Maybe it's late night snacking. That doesn't serve us either. Maybe it's just relying on coffee instead of real fuel. Okay. That was my story. It was much easier for me to get up. It was super busy. Get up, and most likely I would skip my breakfast. Or if there was like chocolate or something like that would be the first thing that I would, eat. Chocolate chip cookie. It had bananas, y'all. It had bananas. Okay. Right. That was not the proper way to fuel my body first thing in the morning. Right. Okay. So identify what's draining you. Number 2 is swap the waste for fuel. So by waste, I mean, if you are already drinking soda, could you swap one soda, like count how many sodas you're having a day or a week? Okay. Could you swap one soda for maybe sparkling water and lemon, right? Could you swap the chips during lunchtime for veggies? Like I like something crunchy, so the baby carrots were super easy for me. Maybe it's, maybe you allow yourself a portion of chips and just keep decreasing that portion and increase it with carrots. Okay. It just signals you to be able to do it a little better. I love hummus, so I added hummus to my salad because I wasn't able to do like dressing. I had an egg allergy. So I wasn't able to do your typical, dressing that I would want. So I love hummus. So hummus became something really good for me. What about your swat the late night Netflix, right? Maybe you enjoy watching the movies. Maybe you go to bed just 20 minutes earlier instead of, just 20 minutes earlier. 20 minutes earlier. Can you do that, right? Something that I loved, a good swap for me was creating energy balls for my mornings with my favorite protein powder. We love Juice Plus. There's some other ones that we tried and our family was like, oh no. So we kind of reverted back to Juice Plus. But put in the comments what your favorite protein powder is. Could you make energy balls with that? You take a little bit of that powder, take some old-fashioned oats, the oatmeal, uncooked. Just take that, mix it with a little peanut butter, or maybe you have a peanut allergy in your family. So we use almond butter and a little bit of the protein. And then I think it's like a little honey. You mix it all. It creates this little nice energy ball. Keep it in the refrigerator so that it hardens. Eat that in the morning or anytime you have like a craving for, sugar, right? Dates is another one. If you crave sugar, having dates handy are a great, great, great solution for those. Okay. And maybe it's just one little swap. I'm not saying it overhaul, but just one little swap. Okay. Okay. So 1, identify what's draining you. 2, swap waste for fuel. I just gave you some ideas. Number 3 is how can you anchor that habit, that new habit? Meaning, how can you stack that new habit? How can you create this new habit as you're learning them with something that you already do? That's anchoring something new with something that you already do. Okay. So you already drink coffee in the morning. could you leave a glass of water by your coffee to remind yourself, like maybe, make it the day before or whatever, but to remind yourself to have a glass of water before your coffee, right? That is anchoring one daily habit, something that's new that you're trying to create with something that you already do, okay? Maybe it's adding an extra veggie to your plate. Maybe you don't eat veggies whatsoever, so just adding a veggie to your plate. Or maybe you already eat some vegetables, but maybe it's not enough, so add one more, maybe a different option, right? Something else you could do is you could take 10 minutes, to take a break every hour. High performing, the book that I was telling you about, the habits of highly performing habits. Let's see, highly performing habits of high performers. One of the things that they tell you and recommend is every hour, if you have an office desk, is to take a break. Every hour, take 10 minutes of a break, okay? And, do some movement. Go up and down the steps if you need to, right? Just get up and get some movement every hour, okay? Something else that you can do is something that has worked for us is, for me specifically, I love to take my dog out for a walk. So that might be something that you could go do too, right? Okay. All right. So let me show you. I wanted to go back and tell you the prizes that we are going to, one of the prizes that we're going to have. And that's what I wanted to share with you. And that's why I'm going to talk about these bioactive peptides. Okay. All right. Because one of the prizes that I'm giving away, and this is how you get leaderboard. So go do your homework. Okay. Is the lean bioactive peptide. So I want to share with you a little bit of the science of how that works. All right. Okay. How are we doing? How's everybody doing? Let's see. Okay, cool. All right. So peptides, what are they and how do they work? Honestly, our bodies produce peptides. Okay. It's actually nothing new. We've had it for a long, long time. They've been around for a long time. Our bodies produce peptides. They help with our hormones, right? They help as neurotransmitters and focus. They help us with skin health and hair and nails and gums. They help us with building muscle and having performance after we build muscle, right? Like that, after that performance, that recovery. Help us with our sleep, with joints and ligaments, with visceral fat, like stem cell production, so much more, okay? So I want you to think about peptides as text messages. Text messages, they send a message to our body. And the peptide is actually the only molecule that can directly communicate with our DNA. So that's pretty cool. Now, a peptide in its finest form is just basically a chain of 2 to 50 amino acids. So let's just think of these as amino acids, and it's just a chain of them. That's what a peptide is. When we eat protein, this is what it looks like, right? When we eat protein, our body digests it. It processes that protein, it breaks it down into peptides. That's how we get peptides ultimately into our body. And these peptides break down into the amino acids, right? Okay, and then the amino acids then go into the bloodstream, and that's how it communicates with our DNA. All right, here's the cool part about the bioactive peptides. And in general, these peptides that our body has been producing, science has also created additional peptides to be able to communicate with our DNA. The problem with how this peptide, when it breaks down, is it actually can't communicate directly with the DNA, unless it breaks down into these amino acids. Okay. And so think of a peptide as like this lock that unlocks your DNA. Okay. So that we could perform at a higher level. The problem is that for the past 40 years, we could only get synthetic peptides. So our body already produces peptides. That's why we want to eat protein. That's why that's important. Okay. But because science has seen how important peptides are in our body, what they're trying to do is be able to communicate with our DNA so that it could, help like insulin, for example. It tells the body to, hey, this person is not able to break down sugar, so I'm going to give you insulin to help you break down that sugar, right? And so in the past, we've created these synthetic peptides that you can only get through injection or oral chemical drug coating. And until now, you guys, now we have something called AI, and which is artificial intelligence. And what it's and then we couple that with just a natural delivery method, being able to take this peptide and actually inject it into our body. So I'm going to go here and not inject it, but get it into the bloodstream without it having to go through the process of breaking down protein. So we still want to eat protein. That's very important. But these bioactive peptides now can directly communicate with our DNA and specifically tell it to do something. So that's what I was going to tell you. The one that I'm giving out tomorrow is intended, or this week, okay, is intended to, so I just want to share this. This one's intended to break down the fat that's in any part of our body and to break it down and then repurpose it for energy. So it's going to support our body, right? Our energy levels when we are also doing workouts, or when we're also doing cardio or weightlifting. So there's another one for, lean muscle, and they look like this, and you add it to your water, right? You can do 40 ounces of water. I would suggest using a water bottle that's 40 ounces. That way you are tracking the amount of water, but one serves a big one, right? Like, might as well, right? I don't know, when I have smaller water bottles, I tend to drink less just because I'm just like fixed on how many of these can I have, right? And this one, I'm like, oh goodness, if I can finish this one, I'm good. When I first started, I was like, it was hard for me to finish the entire thing. Now I drink 3 of these a day. That's 120 ounces of water. But try to finish that by 6 o'clock, because your body, it needs to go into the mode of like wanting to sleep, right? And you don't want to have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. So that's also very important. All right. So that's how it works. Okay. Now we've created these bioactive peptides, and that will help support your body this one helps support your body to build lean muscle. All right. It actually enhances protein synthesis by 4 times the amount that your body naturally would do that if you were to eat protein, which we still want to continue eating. This is just intended to support your body. All right. And so this is what it looks like. When you get the peptide and you put it into your body, it's in here, right? Okay. This is kind of cool. And then you can see all of this is like your lean muscle. Then the peptide gets into there. Okay. And it just gets into there, and it's into there and in there. And naturally, it's just the protein is just, it's being absorbed. Like, it's just helping your body so much more. Okay. So that's just kind of how it works. Here's another way to see it. I think that this is really, really cool. This is without lean. And this is your muscle biopsy with lean. So when you take it, here's what it looks like right here. And then the more as you take it, you can see that the purple actually grows. It's a lot more, right? I think that's so cool. The one I'm giving out is actually this one. All right. And this was a 30-day supply. Again, it's going to help curb your cravings, so that you can, basically, it promotes mindful eating habits, and that's what we want. It is going to turn it into energy, so it repurposes it. And so this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool technology. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you just to kind of get an idea of what you'll be getting for a 30-day supply, okay, for free, because that's going to be like huge, and it's going to help you with that. Okay. All right. I also have created resources that are going to help you stay fueled in the body, in the spirit. And that's what Aligned and Anchored is all about. So I have a free 30-day detox playlist that is out there right now. All 13 of the 30 are up there. So the other 17 are just being published as we speak, but it'll be completed by the end of the week. And you can grab that as a free resource to be able to have, 4 to 6 minutes of just daily encouragement in your mind, speaking truth. It's like a small little devotional. I give you practical truth in there. And then I also, in the description, is going to show just ways to, one thing you can do for your home, one home task, and then give you some ideas for body movement and also a meal plan. Okay. It just kind of breaks it down depending on your energy level or your time for that day. You just want to pick out one of those. Okay. If you're wanting to go much deeper, I invite you into my discipleship and mentorship coaching program. This is where I blend spiritual growth. Okay, you're going to get spiritual growth, but also practical application to help you align your body, your home, and your mind. So we basically take it for another 4 weeks, or you can you can do it self-paced and just do the playlist. And that's free. If you want this discipleship and mentorship, we do meet once a week in form of group coaching group. So it's live, and it's always on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. And if you can't attend, that's okay. You can always watch the replay. It just works just like that. That is $297 for 4 weeks. If you are like, oh my goodness, I would love to have, support my body with these bioactive peptides. But also you can get the group coaching and mentorship, spiritual growth. Then it's $497, and that will include the bioactive peptides. If you're just like, man, I would love some more custom guidance, but also be able to get those bioactive peptides, and it's $997. So you get a menu where you could just do the playlist and just have it self-paced for you. If that's all you need to help you move into momentum and just that daily work encouragement in the mornings, it's 4 to 6 minutes a day. 30-day playlist is out there ready to go. So if this is stirring something in you, just drop the word fuel in the chat and I'll get you the details to all of that. Okay. All right. Now the homework is going to be in here. So let me just share. Let's see. Let's do this homework. Let me show you the homework for today. It's in here. Okay. So what you want to do for homework is in your guide, your detox. If you haven't gotten this yet, just go to Evelyn Tribble at 5 days, or just send me the word, just put detox journal, and I'll get you the link so that you can download this, or just use this video, right? And write this down on a notebook piece of paper. But your homework is to do the work. This is the hard work. Okay. This is what's going to help you move into transformation. You're going to feel so much lighter when you do this work. The question is to reflect on these 3 questions. How does my body currently feel? Okay, I want you to journal this. 2, what does fueling well look like to me? What does that mean to me? Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and just watch this replay. 3, what's one area of nutrition or wellness that I want to improve? All right, so we're talking about your health journey here. Okay, so I want you to do this homework and I want you to go ahead and post it in the group, because when you post it in the group, you're going to get extra points. It's going to get you into the daily the weekly giveaways that I'm doing. And of course, the top one is going to get the lean muscle. And then the second winner is going to get a couple of Norwex items. This is the chenille hand towel. We love this because it solves the issue of the towel falling in the floor, ending up on the floor. And this actually goes around that little, whatever your hanger is. So it could be for your, hanging from the stove or hanging from the dishwasher or in the bathroom, or whatever area you have a sink by. This is awesome. The other things are Christmas colors of kitchen towel and kitchen cleaning. These are going to be vital to cleaning while you're cooking. So it decreases time. You don't have the whole cleaning after. It solves that mess, right? Or somebody could be cleaning while you're cooking, however you want to split it up. But these are some other Norwex that I wanted to share with you. All right, tomorrow we're going to be talking about home detox, okay? So how to create a sanctuary for success, to invite peace and calm. We're going to talk about how to remove toxins. We're going to talk about how to declutter, give you a framework for decluttering your bathroom and your kitchen and your laundry room. Okay, so we're actually going to give you some really very practical tips. I went to a decluttering class once and I'm just going to hand these out to you. Okay, how to design an environment, again, that supports this peace and invites calm and productivity and creativity, right? You don't want to miss it. I am super excited, you guys. This has been awesome. Until next time, stay aligned and anchored with Jesus at the center. All right, bye for now.